the promise for what a stablecoin could be is so tremendous and such a huge opportunity that it's okay to experiment with different structures. And so it's also all right for one to go to zero, because we're so nascent in this, and we're trying these new ideas, and this was one that didn't work. So maybe going forward, using algorithms may not be as popular as perhaps an asset-based stablecoin.
After the epic collapse of Terra Luna and UST, stablecoins are a hot topic that no one can avoid discussing at the moment. Many pundits and analysts are questioning stablecoins, but Kevin O'Leary has a different view on it and believes stablecoins can be extremely useful, especially for international businessmen like himself. Kevin sees Terra Luna's collapse as an experiment that went wrong, and most likely will be the end of algorithmic stablecoins. But it doesn't mean the end of stablecoins altogether. It just means we now know what doesn't work, which will push the industry forward. Before we listen to Kevin, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button as we put out daily content to keep you updated on the market. Make sure you stay till the end as we update you on the market conditions and current crypto news.
But I look at it this way. Let's say I do this. Let's say I'm indexing for Europe right now, and I'm putting an index together. I'm an indexer, so we service sovereign and pension plans, and there's many people that do what I do. And let's say you're a sovereign fund and you're bringing in 250 million US cash a day because you're an oil magnet or you're an oil country. You want to index that into the S&P, X oil, X airlines. We do that. We get paid for that. So we see fund flows every day. Stable coins could be a huge tool for us. Think about it this way. I want to buy Nestle on the Zurich exchange. I have to take US dollars out of New York. I have to send them over to Zurich, ACH, 3 days. There's other ways to wire it, but if you're going to go bank to bank, there's a know your customer basis. It takes time. It can be done in 12 hours, but there's a lot of fees involved. Then I have to convert it into Swiss francs to trade it. I get clipped for 2, 3, 4, 5 bips on that, no value added. If I had a stable coin that both regulators agreed was a currency in a payment system, I could do that in 2 seconds at a fraction of the cost, buy whatever I want to buy, and then send it back the same way. That's worth $1 trillion. That's how big the FX market is in a quarter. Just the fees in that. Now, with that potential, I would love to see some policy, either the Haggerty bill, which I read, the Toomey bill, which I read, both of those make a lot of sense to me, and get some policy around this so I could use it as a tool institutionally. I mean, the mining space is in chaos right now because of ESG concerns. I mean, there's no other way to put it. The market capitalizations of the public miners, which used to be a proxy to the price of Bitcoin, a way for institutions to invest. You could buy a basket of these public miners. That proxy is gone. The stocks are down 60, 80%, whatever, and they won't be coming back until we resolve this ESG issue. New York is a highlight of that. They're considering, canceling proof of work. That would be a bad outcome for New York. That's not a good idea, but it's frozen capital because New York, Tennessee Valley, Montana, North Dakota are ideal locations where you could put mining facilities under full mandate of hydroelectricity, where you wouldn't need a carbon audit. And I think for miners and data centers, that's a huge opportunity. Turkey Point has just been recommissioned by Biden. That's a nuclear power facility in Florida. A lot of interest in that facility for providing power for data centers. It's not just Bitcoin mining we're talking about here. The best outcome for stabilizing a data center is to lease it to miners during the period of stabilization and then convert it to a long-term lease with a Tesla, an Amazon, Microsoft. But all of those giant behemoths, including the state governments, want clean, zero-carbon, ESG-compliant, Larry Fink-proof data centers. That's what they want. Well, assuming, proof of work remains, and I think it will, I really do. We have to, in every generation of chip, make them more efficient, make them more energy efficient, throw off less heat, for example, and that the capital available. I mean, you think about a facility like the one I'm involved in Norway, which is using excess hydropower So instead of it going over the dam and never being returned into the economy, we're capturing it in the form of a data center that's mining Bitcoin right now. We pay tax, we support the community, we're building out 300 megawatts there, and we are using power that is not being used. There's many use cases, but at the same time, we're trying to find the very best and most efficient and productive way to mine that coin. And the halving's coming, so we have to even get better at it. And so that's forcing the industry to do a much better job on technology, but also figuring out a way to support communities. The stacks in Norway heat hydroponic tomato stacks, and a cannery's been built beside it by the Bitcoin miner there, so it's become part of the community. And we're not at war with the local government because we're part of the local government. They're a shareholder in it. And I think that's the new way to build these data centers and these mining facilities, is figuring out jurisdictions that are pro-energy, and if it's nuclear power or if it's hydro, it's great. United Arab Emirates building a massive data center around a nuclear power plant. Upstate Quebec used to be upstate New York, no longer. That's their problem, but it's a shame that they're not taking advantage of what they have. Let's just take the granddaddy asset, Bitcoin, okay? Let's just start there. You may be excited that it's at 800 billion market cap. That is absolutely a nothing burger in the context of financial services. It is a rounding error because the majority of wealth in the world is managed by sovereign wealth and pension plans, both stateside and around the world. 100 billion, 200 billion, $1 trillion mandates that do not own a single Bitcoin, not one. So for all the excitement that we have in these conferences, and this is very important to discuss, it is so nascent, it is not even on the radar of these asset allocators. And they're not going to put it on the radar until it gets cleared by the SEC in one way or another, because the majority of their wealth is indexed into the S&P, the largest market on earth. And if you don't have access to that because you're somehow rogue, it's not worth buying Bitcoin. It's not worth buying Bitcoin at all because it's a tiny fraction of what they're trying to manage. Now, if we could get regulation, and I would argue if we could just regulate one coin at the beginning, let it be Bitcoin, and one stable coin, that would be fantastic. But staying on Bitcoin, here's what would happen. I'm an indexer. I asked the sovereign wealth, what allocation would you put into Bitcoin? And the typical mandate for those guys, we have 11 sectors of the S&P. Their rules are long only, no more than 20% in any one sector, no more than 5% in any one stock. So they may initiate their index of Bitcoin at 50 basis points. When you're running $1 trillion mandate, that is a ton of money. And so all of a sudden the demand for that asset, Bitcoin, becomes higher, the price goes up, but it gets better. If they bought it at, let's say, $30,000, and their mandate is they're going to be a 50%, or let's say 1% weighting, and it goes to a 2% weighting, within 90 days they sell it back down to 1%. Or if it drops, they buy it back up. They are the eternal bid for the asset. And all of a sudden the stability of Bitcoin, instead of having 50% swings every 12 months or more, that's gone forever because there's an underlying multi-trillion-dollar bid for the asset. Now, I don't know why there's a single person in this room that wouldn't want that. So I encourage Lummis, and I encourage Haggerty, and I encourage Toomey, all of these regulators, let's get going here because the rest of the world is far advanced. Canadians already have an ETF in Bitcoin. They already have an Ethereum ETF. The Swiss have already licensed a dealer broker attached to a crypto exchange. So is Canada. The UAE is doing the same thing with the ADGM. I run around the world trying to find places to put money to work. It's everywhere else except the United States. What's wrong with this picture? It's broken. We got to fix it. And I know there's a lot of other political agenda on before the midterms, and I'm sure Biden isn't sitting there saying, I wonder what Kevin O'Leary thinks about regulation on Bitcoin. I mean, he doesn't care because he's got a lot of other issues, but we got to get this dealt with on the other side of the midterms.
To watch the full interview, check out the link in the description. What do you think of Kevin's thoughts here? Leave a comment. An update on the market. Earlier this week, analysts and pundits believed Bitcoin could make a push toward the uptrend as it sat at 31,500 but retracted back to 29,723, which is up 3% in the past 7 days. Ethereum is trading for $1,769, up 2.6% in the past 7 days. The rest of the top 20 coins have maintained sideways action except for Cardano, which is decoupling from the rest of the pack as it is in the green, up 23% in the past 7 days, trading for 56 cents. In crypto news, New York released news about its mining laws. When Eric Adams took office as the new mayor of New York City, he vowed to make NYC the Bitcoin capital of the world, which in turn would bring jobs and talent to the city and state. For the past decade, New York has ranked as one of the top states with the highest net loss migration. There's a myriad of reasons for the net loss, which is beyond the scope of this video, but we can add proof of work as a reason to keep new residents away. Lawmakers in New York just passed a bill to ban certain Bitcoin mining operations that run on carbon-based power sources, which now awaits the signature of Governor Kathy Hochul. If it passes, it would make New York the first state in the country to ban blockchain technology infrastructure. This can be a significant setback for the state, which is already seeing its residents flee to locations with better employment, warmer weather, and fewer taxes. That's all we have for today. If you found value in the video, make sure you hit the like button, as that greatly helps YouTube find similar viewers like you. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, as we put out daily content to keep you up to date on the market. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.